This girl is a walking lie detector. Whenever someone lies in front of her, Kenoko hears a sharp metal clanging sound in her ears. Because of this special ability, she has been shunned by the whole village since childhood. People see her as a curse. They believe she only brings misfortune to others. Her mother always comforts her, telling her not to mind them. She says the family will always stand by her. But Kenoko knows her mother's words are also lies. To not trouble her mother, and to let her younger brother live a better life, she decides to leave the village. She believes the world is big enough to have a place for her. Her mother says, "Kenoko, if you ever face difficulties, this home will always welcome you back." But Kenoko hears a buzzing sound. Even though she knows her mom is lying, Kenoko still says, "Okay, Mom." After leaving the village, Kenoko arrives in a small town called 99 Nights Town. Soon she realizes that where there are people there are lies. It seems people need lies to connect with each other. If she can't change the environment, she must adapt quickly. Her top priority is finding a job to support herself. She happens to see a help wanted sign outside a cafe. It says they urgently need female staff. She goes in for an interview just to try her luck, but the manager tells her they just hired a new waitress. He forgot to take down the sign. The sound in her ears tells Kenoko they're lying. The manager thinks Kenoko is too plain to replace Maria, who just quit after finding a rich boyfriend. She interviews at many shops in one day, but gets rejected for various reasons. Broke and with nowhere to go, Kenoko is starving. She never expected to end up fighting a stray cat for food at a temple. Kenoko says, "Please don't move. Your tail isn't even raised. So this fish is mine. So this fish is mine." Maybe she was too hungry, or the fight was too intense. Kenoko faints before she can taste the seafood. Two boys passing by happen to see her. They take Kenoko to a restaurant in town for a meal. The owner is very kind. He tells Kenoko to eat as much as she wants. All the food will be charged to the boy in overalls, though he already owes them 6 months of food bills. The owner's wife tells Kenoko the guy in overalls is a detective and the man across from him is a police officer. They are the ones who brought you here. Kenoko quickly stands up to thank them. "Thank you very much." She says, "My name is Kenoko Warabe." The detective in overalls says, "It was this guy who found you." The man in a suit says, "My name is Tim. Glad you're okay." Kenoko says, "I'm sorry for the trouble." The detective in overalls says, The food here is really good, but don't eat too much." Kenoko feels warmth spreading through her body. Everyone here is honest and kind. She admires how well they all get along. But a child's arrival ruins the happy mood. Charlie is the owner's son. He just came back from shopping at the market. The owner's wife notices the change Charlie brought back is wrong. She asks if he hid some in his sleeve. Charlie says the market man only gave me this much. Kenoko hears a buzzing sound and knows Charlie is lying. The owner wants to go argue with the market seller. Kenoko stands up and tells Charlie not to lie. "If you lie, you become a liar, and the vegetable seller did nothing wrong. Do you want to be a bad person?" After Kenoko's patient advice, Charlie admits he lied. Charlie returns all the hidden money to his mom. Charlie says, "I'm sorry." Facing this situation, the boss scolds Charlie harshly. The boss's wife wants to teach Charlie a lesson. The place becomes chaotic. The detective in overalls asks the boss's wife at a bad time, "Did you change the cleaning cloth recently?" The boss's wife says, "Yes, I cut up my yukata." Kenoko feels guilty because she interfered and exposed Charlie's lie. It caused all this trouble. Kenoko apologizes to the boss. Now Kenoko understands why villagers used to avoid her. Because of this power, everyone stops smiling. Kenoko says, "Thank you for your hospitality." To avoid causing more trouble, Kenoko decides to leave town. But when Tim asks where she'll go, Kenoko realizes she has nowhere to go. The boss tells Kenoko not to wander off. He says, "People say there are wolves nearby." Soma says, "My detective agency is next door. You can stay in my empty storage room upstairs. The second floor isn't being used." After everyone persuades her, Kenoko decides to stay for now. Soma thinks Charlie must have a reason for lying. Parents should listen to their kids. After dinner, Tim says, "Don't worry, Kenoko. If anything's wrong, just call the police." Soma says, "Get lost." Tim says, "Okay then." Kenoko says, "Thank you." Kenoko stares at the detective agency sign for a while. Soma explains to her, "My name is EY Soma. That's a very rare last name." Soma says, "Oops, forgot to lock the door again." Soma trips and falls. Kenoko asks, "Are you okay?" Can you close the door for me?" Inside, Kenoko sees the detective agency's lobby filled with strange things. It's clear business hasn't been good. Soma can't even afford food, so he has no money for electricity. The power gets cut off again. Soma curiously asks Kenoko how she knew Charlie was lying. Kenoko says, just a feeling, I guess. Kenoko thinks, I lied. Soma says, oh, I thought you noticed something. Kenoko says, huh. Soma says, never mind, let's get some sleep. Back in her room, Kenoko starts blaming herself. She just told Charlie not to lie, but she can't follow her own advice. She's afraid people will avoid her if they know her secret. She just wants a place where she belongs. The next morning, noise downstairs wakes Kenoko. The restaurant owner gathers a crowd to search for her son. Charlie ran away last night and is missing. Kenoko realizes it's because she exposed Charlie's lie. That's why he ran away. Guilt overwhelms her. She wants to help find Charlie, but she's new in town and doesn't know where to start. At a breakfast stall, she meets Soma, who looks relaxed. Soma tells her to eat first before searching. Soma says, this way, this way. Kenoko asks, do you know where Charlie is? Soma says, so you really didn't notice. Kenoko looks confused by Soma's words. Soma calmly says, all the clues are with the temple cat. He asks if Kenoko noticed the cat's scarf yesterday. Didn't you notice the scarf around the cat's neck? It's made from the same cloth as the restaurant owner's cleaning rag. Most likely Charlie has been secretly feeding that cat food. Shops aren't good places to keep furry pets. Normally Charlie probably uses leftover lunch boxes from school to feed it, but today happens to be a weekend with no school. That's why Charlie hid some coins yesterday, probably to buy cat food today. Hearing this, Kenoko finally understands. No wonder Soma told the boss to give the kid a chance to explain. Kenoko realizes this carefree-looking boy is surprisingly sharp-minded. He notices things people usually miss. That day, when she just glanced at the detective agency sign a bit longer, Soma immediately sensed her doubts. Soma says, well, I am a detective after all. He instantly reads Kenoko's admiring thoughts about him. Soma thinks Charlie left home at night because he worried about the cat's safety after hearing about nearby wolves. Kenoko asks, is Charlie in danger then? Soma tells her not to worry. This area's environment isn't suitable for wolves. The howling they heard was probably someone fighting with the cat for food. Kenoko says me. At the temple, they meet a passerby. Soma approaches to ask questions. Excuse me, have you seen a boy around here? The man says, I haven't. Their conversation makes Kenoko alert. A sharp metal sound tells her he's lying. She tries to chase him, but Soma stops her. Let go that person. What about him? What? As the lead walks away, Kenoko can't think of a good excuse to tell Soma. For Charlie's safety, Kenoko tells Soma the truth, whether he believes it or not. Kenoko says, I can hear lies. When he said he didn't know, that was a lie. So please don't stop me. Soma says, what you can really hear lies. Kenoko says, I really can. Soma freezes in place after hearing Kenoko's words. Though Kenoko regrets saying it, she still runs after the stranger. Without hesitation, she reaches an old wooden hut. Kenoko sees the man pouring gasoline. Then he sets the hut on fire. Soma, who arrives right after, shouts at him. Soma says, there's a child in there, isn't there? The man denies it. Soma looks back at Kenoko. Kenoko says, he's lying. After Kenoko's judgment, Soma doesn't hesitate. He jumps down the slope and stumbles through the burning door. Sure enough, Charlie is curled up in a corner. After barely carrying Charlie out of the fire, the man attacks them just as he tries to burn Soma too. Kenoko knocks him out with a shovel. They safely rescue Charlie and capture the criminal. Kenoko doesn't understand why Soma would rush into the fire just based on her saying he's lying. Soma says, someone who always tells kids not to lie would never lie in a life or death situation. From Charlie, they learn the man who tried to burn him is a murderer. While feeding cats, Charlie accidentally saw him disposing of a body. Charlie panicked and hid in the hut. At first, the man planned to starve him and make it look like an accident, but Charlie's parents got the whole village searching in desperation. The man returned to burn the hut. At the police station, Kenoko learns the woman he killed was Maria, who quit the cafe job. After her interview, Kenoko hears from colleagues outside the door that Maria trusted a bad man's lies, which led to her tragic end. If Maria could see through lies, she might have survived. Kenoko is surprised because Soma never mentioned her lie detecting ability during the police interview. This means Soma kept it secret from the police. As Kenoko leaves the station, Tim stops her. Tim heard from the interviewing officer that Kenoko wants to leave town. He thinks she's leaving because she doesn't get along with Soma. He mentions his boss needs a housemaid and offers to recommend her. Kenoko is touched by Tim's kindness. But now that Soma knows her secret ability, she worries it might cause trouble for others. So Kenoko lies, saying she must go somewhere else as thanks for letting her stay these days. Before leaving, she tidies up the messy living room. At the crossroads, she meets Soma, who's helping his boss sell breakfast. Soma asks if Kenoko's luggage means she's taking Tim's boss's maid job. Kenoko declines the offer. Soma says she made the right choice. Someone with her special ability is too good for maid work. Soma says, "How about being my assistant?" Kenoko says, "Huh." Soma explains. Her power perfectly matches his detective skills. They could solve cases faster and help more people. Plus, they'd make good money. Kenoko says, but Soma immediately understands her worry. He promises he'll never dislike her. Kenoko asks, "Really?" Soma says, "I could never dislike you, because I'm an honest man." Kenoko says, "You're lying, aren't you?" Soma replies, "Did you catch me?" Kenoko suddenly realizes that when Soma said he could never hate her earlier, those words sounded sincere. Soma says, "You can tell, right? That part was true." So Kenoko, who just wanted a job to support herself, accidentally becomes a struggling detective's assistant. No matter which hand you hide something in this detective, Soma always guesses correctly. But he doesn't use logic, he cheats. He lets kids lie to mislead him, as long as they answer yes or no. After his question, "Is it here?" "No." If the child lies, Kenoko, in her kimono behind him, crosses her fingers as a signal. She has a special ability to detect lies since childhood. Whenever someone lies, Kenoko hears a sharp metal clanging sound. Crossed fingers mean a lie, right hand over left means the truth. The kids are amazed and ask Soma how he does it. Soma lies, "I can hear your lies with my ears." Kenoko doesn't understand why the kids don't dislike Soma when he claims to detect lies. They admire him instead. Soma explains to Kenoko, "It's hard to make people believe things beyond their understanding, but if you show them proof, they won't dislike you, even if they don't believe. If you bluntly expose someone's lie without explanation, they'll feel scared and instinctively dislike you." Back at the detective agency, they find the lobby filled with expensive ingredients, including rare matsutake mushrooms. These aren't things ordinary families can afford. A letter sits atop the ingredients. The landlord asks Soma to deliver these to the powerful Sato family. Kenoko is confused. Soma is a detective, but recently, he only gets jobs like cleaning temples or running errands. Soma says, "I have no choice. I want real detective work, but nobody asks for my help." Kenoko says, "You don't advertise enough. If you promote yourself like theaters do, with flyers or newspaper ads, you'd get clients." Soma replies, "That's a good idea, but I can't even pay for meals or electricity. How can I afford ads?" "Good point," Kenoko says. At least delivering for the landlord earns Soma some money. Rich families might even tip him, but today isn't their lucky day. The lady of the house is polite, but her daughter, Emma's first words are, "You're poor, and you look even poorer." Emma thinks Soma has no manners. "You visit our home dressed so sloppily. Your hair is long but not styled with oil, but your face looks healthy, so you eat well." Mrs. Sato scolds, "Emma, that's rude." She quickly apologizes. Emma demands, "Rate my detective skills." She's obsessed with mystery novels and just imitated what she read. "I finished this book yesterday. A clock chimes." Emma says, "My play is starting soon." She tells the driver not to come. "The theater is close, I'll walk." Mrs. Sato insists, "Let George drive you." Emma argues, "But it's just 2 steps away." "Listen, take the car." After they leave, Mrs. Sato apologizes to Soma again. Mrs. Sato says Emma has been spoiled since childhood, so she speaks without thinking, but means no harm. She heard from the landlord that Soma is a detective, so Mrs. Sato wants to ask Soma for a favor. Before she can explain, Soma asks if it's about insisting. George drives Emma to the theater. Mrs. Sato says, "Ah, the great detective is as sharp as they say." Seeing Soma's skills, Mrs. Sato asks a maid to call Mr. Sato. Mr. Sato says they received a threatening letter 4 days ago. It says, "I will never forget this hatred." Since it's unsigned, they don't know who sent it. Mr. Sato says he's never had major conflicts in business. He can't think of anyone he offended. At first they thought it was a prank, but a maid says she saw 2 scary-looking men lurking nearby. Mr. Sato says since there's no further threat or demand, the police won't investigate. This puts them in a tough spot. Emma's carefree nature makes her an easy target. So George suggested she always be driven for safety. Mrs. Sato notices Soma suspects George. She assures him George has been their driver for 7 years. He watched Emma grow up. He's always cared for her. Suddenly a maid rushes in with an anonymous letter. Your daughter is with me. Do not call the police or she dies. Clearly it's a ransom note. It demands 8,300 yen be brought to Chuya Station within an hour. The handwriting matches the earlier threat. Soma asks when the letter arrived and what the 1-hour deadline means. The maid doesn't know. George brought the letter just then. George stumbles and clutching his bleeding head and kneels before Mr. Sato. George says the young lady was kidnapped by suspicious people. The metallic tone in his voice tells Kenoko that George is lying, just as Kenoko is about to expose him. She remembers Soma warned her not to blindly expose lies. So Kenoko desperately signals to Soma that George is lying. George says a man threw him the letter in the parking lot. The letter shocked him, and when he tried to chase the man for answers, 2 hidden men beat him up. Kenoko thinks everything he says is a lie. Mr. Sato wants to call the police, but Mrs. Sato stops him. The letter warned that calling police would put their daughter in more danger. George quickly tells Mr. Sato to calm down. Soma says the criminals might be watching the mansion right now. Kenoko thinks he's lying again. Using Kenoko's hints, Soma says he might know the truth now. Soma tells Kenoko to keep giving him signals. Soma goes to ask George some questions from George's story. He was attacked in the parking lot after taking Emma to the theater. Soma says, so you never actually saw Emma get kidnapped. George quickly adds that he later checked the theater. Kenoko signals that George is lying. Soma asks, so Miss Emma isn't in the theater? George says she's not. As Soma tries to ask more questions, George acts like he has a terrible headache. Mr. Sato orders servants to take George to the clinic. From the clues, Soma thinks Emma is probably still at the theater. Soma signals Mrs. Sato to step aside for instructions. He also gives Kenoko a meaningful look. He wants Kenoko to delay Mr. Sato as long as possible. Soma tells Mrs. Sato to hurry to the theater and bring Emma back. He'll explain everything later. Mrs. Sato doesn't question Soma's judgment right now. She quickly asks her maid to go with her to find Emma. Meanwhile, Kenoko can't stop Mr. Sato. He insists on getting money from the safe to ransom his daughter. George returns after treatment and makes things worse. George warns Mr. Sato the 1-hour deadline is almost up. Mr. Sato wraps the money and is about to leave for the station. Soma suggests Mr. Sato should first check if Emma is really at the theater. After all, the theater is very big. George just got beaten up by the bad guys. He might have missed her in the panic. George insists it's impossible. He checked carefully. You're lying. George is definitely lying. George adds that he remembers Emma's seat number. The seats are fixed. How could I be wrong? Maybe she went to the bathroom. No way. Are you sure? Kenoko is certain George is lying. She wonders why Soma keeps asking questions. George says, I asked people nearby. They all said Emma's seat was empty the whole time. Mr. Sato gets impatient. He orders George to drive him to the station. Soma says, wait a moment. Soma says he noticed something strange. He asks Mr. Sato to look at 2 snacks on the table. One is a honey cake. Which one is bigger? Mr. Sato looks confused. He doesn't understand Soma's point. Mr. Sato asks, does this have any special meaning? Soma says, actually no special meaning. Huh, I'm just buying time. What nonsense. We're running out of time. Yes, Emma is in danger. Emma says, what are you talking about? A familiar voice comes from behind them. Emma looks upset at her father. Why did you call me back during the play? Weren't you kidnapped? Emma looks completely confused. I was at the theater the whole time. Now George's lies are exposed. Emma asks, George, what happened to your head? Soma questions George. Didn't you say earlier that you checked the seat number? And even asked the people nearby? You said you didn't see Miss Emma. How do you explain this now? Soma points out there's a problem with the kidnapping story. The letter said the ransom must be paid within an hour. That's way too rushed. The criminal clearly wanted the money during the play, and the way the letter was delivered is suspicious too. The criminal knew the theater was close to the Sato mansion, but they didn't send the letter there directly. Instead, they risked being seen by handing it to George. They probably didn't want Mr. Sato to go to the theater looking for Emma. Only George bringing the letter and saying Emma was taken would stop that. Kenoko thinks, wow, he connected all the lies and the whole story. Mrs. Sato still can't believe George would do this. Besides, the maids really saw 2 scary men nearby. Kenoko confirms the maids are telling the truth. So George probably knows those 2 men. George says, I don't know them. Kenoko thinks he's lying again. Soma asks George, were they blackmailing you? Is that why you planned to steal the ransom? Am I wrong? Before George can answer, Emma defends him. Emma says, you're wrong. She thinks Soma is just guessing. There's no real proof. The theater is huge. George could have just mixed up the seat number. And even if someone wanted to kidnap me, it's not George. Emma says, your theory is full of holes. Why accuse someone without proof? Emma says George has taken care of her since she was little. I know him better than anyone. So stop making wild accusations. At least show some evidence. Soma says, believe what you want. The case is solved anyway. Soma says, anyway, the problem is solved. My job is. Kenoko says, wait a minute. Kenoko sees how much Emma trusts George, but George took advantage of that trust. Even if people will dislike her, she must expose George's lie. Mr. George is lying. I'm sure of it. You're sure? How can you be sure? What makes you so sure? Kenoko says, I can't hear it. She almost reveals her secret, but Soma covers her mouth to stop her. Soma says, Kenoko is amazing, as expected of my assistant. Soma says he wanted to keep things mysterious, but now he might as well tell everyone he recently studied psychology. It's easy to tell when someone is lying. When Mr. George lies, his eyes look down to the right at a 45-degree angle. If I reveal this trick, George will control his eyes next time he lies. That's why I didn't want to say it. I see. Mr. Sato thinks Soma's explanation makes sense. He asks George what really happened. George doesn't even know about his eye movements. But he did lie. George confesses the truth. 6 months ago he met his childhood friend, John. John tricked him into buying a bad stock. George lost all his money and got into debt. Then John disappeared. Now the debt collectors are after him. They say, if you don't pay, we'll have to take action. Mr. Sato's daughter is so cute. George tried to pay with his salary, but the interest kept growing too fast. They pressured him to pay everything by the end of the month, 8,300 yen in total. If he can't pay, they'll kidnap Emma. George doesn't want Emma to suffer because of him, but he can't get the money in time. He has no choice but to take this desperate measure. George apologizes to Mr. Sato and Emma. He feels he has betrayed their trust in him. Mr. Sato walks up to George angrily. He asks why George didn't tell him about this sooner. Everyone knows George is loyal. If he had just asked, they could have helped him pay the 8,300 yen debt right away. George thinks he has done something shameful. He doesn't deserve Mr. Sato's help anymore. Soma tells George to accept the money for now. Looking at the situation, if George really wanted to kidnap Emma, it would have been easy. But he hurt himself to fake the kidnapping instead. He never wanted to harm Emma. That's why Soma could solve the case so easily. Also, no kidnapper would ask for such an exact amount. 8,300 yen must be the exact debt George owed. Now Mr. Sato is willingly giving George the money. This shows how much the Sato family trusts him. They believe George won't make the same mistake again. Mr. Sato tells George to take the money without worry. He shouldn't feel burdened. They will deduct it little by little from his salary later. George says, I will repay this kindness for the rest of my life. George truly means what he says. Emma is amazed by Soma's brilliant reasoning. She looks at him with admiration. Emma says, this is what a real detective is like. His unique middle-parted hair, his simple and modest clothes show how reliable he is. That was amazing. What reward would you like? Soma says money. Emma says, your professionalism is truly outstanding. Then Emma asks Kenoko what reward she wants. Kenoko hopes Emma can help promote Soma's work. If anyone around her has trouble, they can always come to the detective agency for help. Emma says, you're so humble and content. I'll make sure you get what you want. Finally, Soma reminds Mr. Sato, even if you pay back the money, these thugs might not leave you alone. It's best to report this to the police first. Tell them about the thugs' threats. Emma teases Soma for dressing like a beggar. This comment bothers Soma for a long time. After getting paid, Soma immediately buys new clothes. Then Soma takes Kenoko to a nearby restaurant. They treat themselves to a nice meal. They happen to meet Tim there. Tim complains that the police station has been busy lately. Thanks to some important clues from a wealthy person, they helped bust a crime group that blackmails rich people. This time's victim got lucky when the wealthy person reported to the police during the threat. So the criminals got caught and fully investigated. Soma and Kenoko don't need to ask. They know who Tim means by wealthy person. After solving the case, Mr. Sato personally comes to thank them. Soma happily accepts the reward. This case was solved smoothly. Kenoko definitely helped a lot. That's why they get an extra reward. Rich people are really generous. 50,000 yen, honey cake. 50,000 yen. This is how Kenoko's first case gets solved successfully. Kenoko writes a letter home to tell her mom she's doing well. Her mom smiles with relief after reading it. Next morning Charlie shows Kenoko a newspaper. Charlie says someone advertised their detective agency in the paper. Clearly Emma did this. The ad says, handsome, smart, and just, the famous detective. The wealthy pay rewards matching his skills. Soma agrees with the compliments, but thinks the last part is unnecessary. Soon Emma's ad brings results. The shop gets crowded, but these aren't customers. They are not customers, but creditors who come to collect debts after hearing Soma has money. If you had the ability to detect lies, where would you use it? Soma thinks this power would be perfect for business deals. He won't have to worry about the recycling shop owner cheating him anymore. The recycling shop owner says, listen, this stuff is worth 80 coins at most. If the owner lies or isn't honest, Kenoko gives a hand signal to warn Soma. Soma says, please give me a better price. The owner says, what? I already gave you the highest price. Go ask other shops if you don't believe me. With Kenoko's help, Soma's bargaining skills improve a lot. Soma says, then let's go to another shop for small profits. Who loses more in the end, me or the owner? It's fun to take the risk. The owner says, 90 coins. I really can't go higher. Deal made. The owner is very frustrated. Times are already tough, business is bad, and now he meets such a good bargain at. He's so poor, he hasn't even eaten breakfast. A few days ago he got drunk at a bar in Block 60, and someone stole his wallet. To punish him, his wife cut off his allowance. Bad luck never comes alone. After clearing the clutter, the hall looks bright and spacious. Even Tim is amazed when he sees it. Wow, it's so clean. Tim came today to ask about something. Last month the landlord asked Soma to help with some work. That day Soma insisted on dragging Tim along. Later Soma only treated Tim to a few pancakes as thanks. But after eating Tim felt sick. Tim says, my stomach hurts so bad. Soma says, you're exaggerating. Tim says, how come? You're fine. Soma says, I exercise regularly. Plus, I often eat random snacks when I'm hungry. Tim says, I'm done for. Help me. Soma says, I'll get some well water. Wait here. Just then a woman passes by and gives Tim first aid. But Tim is too dizzy to remember her face clearly. He vaguely recalls a peony-patterned half-collar under her coat. Tim says, she smelled really nice. Tim tells them not to misunderstand. He just wants to thank the woman in person. Recently, he saw a bar worker in the newspaper who looked familiar. He asks Soma to confirm if it's the same girl. Soma glances and firmly tells Tim it's not her. Kenoko instantly realizes Soma is lying. Soma says, they're completely different people. Because Soma's memory is unusually sharp, Tim has no choice but to believe him. Kenoko doesn't understand why Soma would lie to Tim, especially since they're such close friends. Plus, Soma knows Kenoko can detect lies, and he knows her ability has a flaw. He could lie without Kenoko noticing. A few days ago Soma tested Kenoko's ability. She can spot most lies, but there are limits, for example with future events. Soma says, it will rain tomorrow. Kenoko says, you're not lying. Again, it won't rain tomorrow. You're not lying either. Just as Soma suspected, one of these statements must be wrong. But Kenoko can't tell. Her power doesn't work on unknowns. Soma says, so we can't get rich gambling. Kenoko says, so that's what you're thinking about. Soma tells Kenoko to focus. Listen carefully to see if his next sentence is a lie. Soma says, it will rain tomorrow. Kenoko hears a sharp metal sound in her ears. She doesn't understand why the same words about something unknown can be said by Soma in a way that could be both true and a lie. Soma says, no one can accurately predict tomorrow's weather, or even the weather 1,000 years from now. The difference this time is in my thoughts. At first, saying it will rain tomorrow, or it won't rain tomorrow, was just stating two possible outcomes in my mind. I wasn't actually answering. But the lie just now was a choice I made. In his heart he was sure tomorrow would be sunny. But he deliberately didn't say what he really thought. Instead, he said the opposite of what he believed. It will rain tomorrow. So Kenoko recognized it as a lie. This means Kenoko's ability isn't about knowing the truth of a situation. It's about judging whether the speaker intends to lie. In other words, even if it's wrong or against the facts, as long as the person doesn't think they're lying. Kenoko can't tell. So Soma knows how to trick him and make Kenoko unable to detect the lie. But he chose not to do that. This makes Kenoko even more confused about Soma's intentions. Soma is willing to lie to his best friend. There must be a reason for this. Tim says to the landlady, that's so pretty. The landlady asks, huh? The owner says, ah. Tim says, excuse me. Turns out Tim was talking about a pot of flowers. The flowers are called moss roses. It's clear that even after just one meeting, Tim has already fallen hard for that Miss Peony. Soma says, just forget about her. Why? She was just passing by, wasn't she? Tim says, I just want to see her again to thank her. Just to thank her. As longtime best friends, Soma knows Tim very well. This guy definitely doesn't just want to say thanks. He has a crush on that girl. This makes Kenoko even more confused. Why is Soma trying to stop Tim's feelings? Soma says there are plenty of pretty girls who smell nice on the street. Tim says, but only she saved my life. Please don't laugh at someone's true feelings. Kenoko thinks, why is the detective being so harsh? The bar owner says, stop arguing and have a drink. Soma says, looks can be deceiving. Tim says, really, our great detective? Can you really know someone's true self just by looking? Since meeting Soma, Kenoko has learned one thing. Everyone has truths. They don't want others to know. That's why people lie and hide things. Soma must be the same right now to avoid being disliked again. Kenoko decides to be more careful. She keeps her doubts to herself for now. The next day Soma asks Kenoko to run an errand. When she delivers the package to the secondhand shop owner, she notices the tea tray is wrapped in the same newspaper Tim brought. Kenoko casually asks the well-informed owner about the exact location of the shop in the newspaper. The owner says it's a bar in Block 60. Kenoko decides to check it out herself. Following the owner's directions, Kenoko quickly finds the woman from the newspaper, but she doesn't know how to start the conversation. Just then Soma appears behind her. Soma says, where are you going? Why don't you go in and ask? Ask if she ever took care of Tim. From Soma's smug little smile, Kenoko realizes he already figured her out. Kenoko gathers her courage and asks Soma, why are you lying to Tim when you're his best friend? Soma smiles, but doesn't answer right away. Suddenly, loud noises come from behind them. The second-hand shop owner arrives with the police after Kenoko left. The owner recognized the woman in the newspaper. She looked like the person who stole his wallet when he was drunk. The owner says, she's the one who stole my wallet. The woman in the peony pattern dress says she doesn't remember. But Kenoko knows she's lying. Soma tells Kenoko, this woman is probably a thief. She steals while pretending to help others. Because she's so beautiful. Men remember her face, even when drunk. The shop owner says, I remember your face clearly. Thanks to this news article I found you. As the woman tries to run away, Tim stops her and recognizes her too. To avoid trouble, Soma tries to sneak away with Kenoko. Now Tim understands Soma's good intentions. Tim says, I knew it. I can never beat you. Tim and Soma share a knowing smile. Soma already suspected the woman was a thief. He saw her trying to steal Tim's wallet that day. When the woman noticed Tim watching, she left without doing anything. The shop owner mentioned his stolen wallet when selling items. Soma guessed it might be the same thief. He wrapped the tea tray in that newspaper on purpose. He knew Kenoko would ask about it. If the owner saw the paper, he might remember Soma dressed as a homeless man to check. The woman wore a peony pattern dress. Just like Tim said, it was probably the same person. Tim has always been kind and wants to be a cop, but you can't reason with someone in love. So Soma lied to protect him from getting hurt. He also wanted to see Kenoko's reaction when she found out he lied. Soma says, you can detect lies, can't you? That's why you're afraid to see inside my heart. But Soma also wants to see Kenoko's reaction when she finds out he lied. Soma says, is it because you can hear lies that you worry about seeing into my heart? If I ever want to trick you, I can easily fool you. But Soma tells Kenoko not to worry. He's just practicing so he can better spot lies when solving cases later. This family has a strange tradition. They worship dolls as gods. Every day they dress them in new kimonos. They offer them the finest food. Soon villagers notice Emily looks more like the dolls. The dolls seem to really eat the food. Every day some goes missing. New maid Mary doesn't believe in ghosts. She thinks rats are stealing the food. Mary secretly adds strong rat poison. Next day, she finds she's poisoned. A person panicked. Mary runs to her uncle for help. When police arrive, they find no body, just a doll on the floor. Everyone in the house, including Emily, is safe. Police think Mary saw wrong. Meanwhile, by a mountain stream, two fishermen find Mary's body. A doll lies beside her. As they prepare to call police, they spot a woman on a distant hilltop. The fishermen know the area well. It seems real, but must be a trick. No path leads to that hilltop. The woman they saw wore a long-sleeved kimono, impossible to climb in. Mary's uncle says only Emily at Io Mansion wears such kimonos. But when the fishermen found Mary, Emily was home with the police. She couldn't possibly be on the mountaintop. The final conclusion is that the fishermen saw wrong. The officer concludes that Mary thought she killed someone and went crazy. In the end, she chose to end her own life. But some villagers don't believe this. They start spreading rumors that a doll killed Mary for revenge. This brings bad reputation to the Io mansion. People keep saying Emily is a cursed girl. To stop these bad rumors, the Io family's lawyer contacts reporter Nancy. They want to use the newspaper to clear Emily's name. On her way there, Nancy meets Soma, who can't pay rent and is hiding from debt collectors. Nancy asks Soma and Kenoko to come with her, but Soma isn't interested at first. Nancy says, "I'll pay your rent this month." Soma quickly changes his mind and agrees to go. From what Nancy knows, Emily, the Io's only child, has always been sickly. To help their daughter grow up healthy, her parents made dolls for different stages of her life. They matched Emily's growth. They changed the dolls' kimonos daily and even gave them the same food as Emily. But recently the Io couple died in a boat accident. Emily was left alone. Strangely, the village is small but no doctor or midwife has records of Emily's birth. It's like Emily appeared out of nowhere. Her doll-like face makes her story even more mysterious. Some say a villager saw Emily break her leg, but she walked normally the next day. Even without the doll murder case, this mansion would make a great ghost story. When they reach the village, Bob, the dead maid's uncle, guides them. He feels guilty about his niece's death. Mary's father left many debts when he died. To pay off those debts, Mary and her brother came to this village to stay with him. He knew about the rumors of the Io mansion, but still recommended Mary to work there as a maid. After all, the pay was very good. Mary's brother has been weak and sick since childhood. He can only do simple physical work. Bob's own situation isn't great either. He did his best to help the siblings. He never expected such an accident to happen. Now all the burden falls on Mary's brother. This is Mary's brother. Led by Bob, they soon arrive at the Io mansion. At first glance, Emily isn't as scary. As the rumors say, she even seems a little airhead. She steps back outside because she forgot to knock. Emily says, "I made a mistake. I forgot to say excuse me before opening the door." How cute. According to Emily, her parents never let her go out because she was weak as a child, so she never had any friends. After her parents died, she lost all support. Now she's the only one living in this house. "Just you alone?" Emily says yes. Kenoko doesn't give any hand signals in response. This means Emily is telling the truth. Emily didn't trust reporters at first. After what happened to Mary, many media outlets exaggerated or twisted the facts for attention. Some even sneaked into the mansion at night to take photos of her daily life. But Nancy was strongly recommended by the mansion's lawyer. The lawyer told her that to stop the rumors, she needed the media's help. Even though Emily doesn't socialize much, she doesn't want to be seen as a monster by the villagers. Kenoko thinks, "You're not a monster." Emily's situation reminds Kenoko of herself. Nancy tells Emily not to worry. She will report the truth. But Emily must also be honest with her. She needs to tell the whole story. Nancy is curious. She hasn't seen any dolls in the house, yet Emily says the dolls are kept in the annex next door. Only Emily is allowed inside. Others can only enter when delivering meals. These are her parents' rules. Soma says, but Bob and Officer Terayama went in before right. On the day someone, or a doll, was hurt. Emily says, yes. Emily warned them not to go in. Nancy tells Emily not to worry. They will follow the rules and visit the annex at lunchtime. Kenoko thinks Emily is very honest. So far she hasn't told a single lie. Kenoko also looks forward to Nancy's report. It might change people's opinions about Emily. Then Emily won't feel so alone. Soma asks Kenoko, did you notice something strange? Most people say, when talking about themselves. But Emily always calls herself Emily. Didn't you feel lonely living apart from your parents? It was to keep Emily safe and healthy. Maybe Nancy noticed this too. Nancy asks Emily if she has a twin. Before Emily can answer, the maid tells them lunch is ready. They can now visit the annex. Inside there are hundreds of dolls, all different sizes. Just like the rumors say, Mr. and Mrs. Io made dolls as Emily grew up. On special days they made extra dolls to be friends with Emily's dolls. While taking photos, Nancy sees a doll with a scar on its face. Emily says this is the doll Mary mistook for a body. The scar came from hitting a table corner when it fell. Soma and others pick up the doll and lay it flat on the ground. It does look a bit like a real person. No wonder Mary mistook it back then. Nancy continues interviewing Emily. They say a doll was lying next to Mary when she died. But Emily told the police the doll didn't belong to their family. Emily says she actually lied to the police at that time. That doll really was from their home. She doesn't know why it was near Mary, But if she told the police the truth, they and the media would think Mary was a thief. So she asks Nancy not to include this in the report unless necessary. She doesn't want online bullies to attack Mary after her death. Though Emily is also curious why her family has such a strange tradition. Her parents died before they could explain it to her. Emily knows her outfit might scare people, but it's a rule passed down by her parents for her well-being. She says she'll follow it, even if people dislike her. This makes Kenoko think of her own past. Kenoko admires Emily's strength in sticking to her beliefs. She thinks Miss Emily is really brave. After honoring the dolls, everyone returns to the main house for dinner. Nancy notices the careless maid forgot to set out a pair of chopsticks. Nancy says, "I'll go to the kitchen and get some." Emily replies, "You're a guest, let me do it." Nancy insists, "It's just a small thing, I'll go." Soma says, "This food is delicious." But as Kenoko heads back with the utensils, she accidentally sees a figure moving in the doll room. The figure looks just like Emily, but Emily is supposed to be eating with them in the main house. Kenoko remembers Nancy's earlier unfinished question. She asks Emily, "May I ask you something personal? Are you a twin?" Nancy adds, "I was wondering the same thing." Emily quickly says, "No, I'm not a twin." Kenoko hears no unusual sounds around her. Emily firmly denies being a twin. Everything seems normal. Soma, who is focused on eating, instinctively looks at Kenoko's hands. The answer confirms Emily isn't lying. Kenoko feels a bit guilty for doubting Emily without reason. So far in their talk, Emily hasn't told a single lie. Even Soma, who usually notices everything, doesn't find anything strange about Emily. Nancy tells Emily not to worry. After she organizes all her materials, she'll write an article to clear up these rumors. Emily says, "Thank you." Kenoko hopes that after things calm down, Emily can try joining society like she did. She believes if people meet Emily, the rumors about her being cursed will disappear. Emily says, no, I mean okay. Kenoko wishes Emily could be as lucky as her and find someone trustworthy too. Nancy sighs about how creative people's imaginations are even calling this the doll murder case. Emily says, "No one was killed. Not a single person died in our house. Mary killed herself too." As a sharp sound rings in her ears, Kenoko knows Emily just lied. That was a lie. This means it wasn't a doll that fell. Someone really died. Kenoko realizes Mary killed herself is also a lie. Does this mean Mary didn't commit suicide? Though Kenoko detected the lie, she doesn't give Soma any signals this time. But observant Soma notices Kenoko acting strange. He tells her not to feel pressured. She doesn't have to say anything. After all, Nancy dragged them here anyway. Even if they do nothing, Nancy will still pay their rent this month. Soma's honesty makes Kenoko open up too. She admits Emily's background reminds her of her own past, so she unconsciously wants to protect Emily, because Soma once said there are good lies and bad lies. Kenoko thinks Emily didn't tell the police about Mary stealing dolls to protect Mary's reputation after her death. This lie might also be told to protect something deep down. She chooses to believe Emily is a good person. Soma tells Kenoko it's not easy to tell good lies from bad ones. Even he isn't sure he can do it right now. Emily's lie protects Mary's reputation. But if Mary hadn't died and kept stealing elsewhere, Emily's good lie would seem different. Whether a lie is good or not depends on your point of view. So it's better not to overthink it. Just follow your heart. Besides, there's no rush to judge Emily's lie. Nancy hasn't finished interviewing Emily yet. Let's wait and see. Talking with Soma helps Kenoko relax again. The next day, Kenoko wakes up near noon. Nancy and Soma are peeking into the dollhouse. Soma spots fresh bloodstains on a room divider, but no one answers, no matter how hard Nancy knocks. Soma tells Kenoko to call the butler. Then Soma breaks a window with a rock. Inside, they see a girl lying on the floor up close. They realize it's just a doll before they can recover. Emily opens the door angrily and shouts, "How dare you break into my room? I said no entry except at mealtimes." Emily looks furious now, completely different from yesterday. The truth about the doll murder case finally surfaces. Many smart viewers guessed right. Emily is not a twin, but a triplet. But someone else killed Mary. One of the Emilists just happened to see it happen. Soma already suspected there are at least 3 Emilists. The Emily in front of them insists the blood at the scene was from her cutting her hand by accident. But Kenoko's hand signs clearly show this. Emily is lying. Even Nancy can tell. The amount of blood seems too much. Emily says, "But I really bled that much." To test his theory, Soma casually asks Emily, Did you have dinner with us last night? Emily says, of course I did. Soma sees Kenoko signaling that she's lying. Soma now has his answer, but they still don't have solid proof. To avoid alerting her, they leave the doll room for now and tell the butler to call a doctor and the police right away. Then Soma shares his theory. There are at least 3 Emilys in the house. The one here now, the one who was poisoned, and the one who had dinner with them yesterday. But knowing this isn't enough, they must find the injured Emily first. Seeing Soma and Kenoko confidently discussing how Emily is lying, Nancy looks very confused, but she can't get a word in. Kenoko remembers Soma once said Emily rarely uses I to refer to herself. When talking about herself, she says I, but otherwise she calls herself Emily. Miss Emily always talks like this. Now Nancy starts to understand a little. Emily once said, a reporter tried to take my photo. Though Emily said no one could enter, they claimed it was to keep Emily safe and healthy, a rule passed down. For Emily, I'm hungry too. This means 3 Emilys share one identity. Their heavy bangs and doll-like outfits, along with the mini dolls in the mansion, create a strange atmosphere. Even if their faces look slightly different, no one would notice. Besides, they are triplets, if Soma's theory is correct. The blood at the scene means another Emily is in great danger. So Soma asks Nancy to help Officer Terayama search the yard. Later, Kenoko keeps an eye on the Emily in front of them. While Soma goes to the river to ask the fisherman some questions, he feels the mountain top holds clues. If the fisherman isn't mistaken, an Emily wearing a kimono couldn't climb the mountain like they did. This means there might be another path to the top, or maybe other Emilys live on the mountain. So Soma asks the fisherman to help search the mountain. They soon find a small mound in the bushes. Up close it looks more like a simple grave. Right next to it, Soma discovers a hidden tunnel. Inside is a secret room with clear signs of someone living there. They must have spent most of the past 20 years in this small dark room. Back in the doll room, Bob, the village doctor, bandages Emily's wound. Bob finds it strange. Emily's hand injury doesn't match the blood at the scene. He asks if anyone else in the mansion is hurt. Emily says no. They're lying. Kenoko would have argued with Emily before, but now she knows it's pointless. The detective is right. We have no proof. Nearby, Officer Terayama grows impatient. Officer Terayama thinks it's unnecessary to call him just for Emily's hand injury. After bandaging the wound, Bob is about to leave. Kenoko says, wait, someone else is hurt. Emily says, I'm the only one who got hurt. You can go now. Kenoko says wait. Kenoko doesn't know how to convince them. Even when she explains her theory that Emily might be triplets, Officer Terayama still thinks Kenoko is talking nonsense. He and Bob have lived in this village for decades. We never noticed Emily was triplets. How could outsiders figure it out in just a few days? Your theory makes no sense. Listen to me instead. Miss Emily has always been just one person. That's definitely true. Kenoko still won't give up and tries to convince Emily. Kenoko says, everyone deserves to live in this world and be their own unique person. Please don't deny your existence. But Emily still stays silent. Officer Terayama impatiently wants to leave. Just then the wooden door behind the doll opens. Soma comes out carrying an injured Emily. Officer Terayama says, there really is another one. Bob quickly checks Emily's injuries. Bob says, her breathing is very weak. She's in shock from losing too much blood. Emily says, please, save Emily. Kenoko can tell these words are sincere, not lies. The Emily in front of them didn't realize the situation would become this serious. As everyone rushes the injured Emily to the hospital, Officer Terayama picks a bad time to take the other Emily to the police station for questioning. Bob tells the officer to understand the situation and not cause trouble. The injured Emily lost too much blood and might need a blood transfusion. The other Emily should go with him to the hospital. While waiting, Emily explains everything. They are indeed triplets. 1 month ago, one Emily ate poisoned food and died. This sudden event leaves her confused. Just then she hears quick footsteps outside. Then she sees Mary open the door. She thinks Mary came to steal the doll. Mary looks shocked to see the poisoned Emily on the floor. After Mary leaves to hide the triplet secret, the 2 remaining Emilys decide to replace the dead Emily with a doll. When the police arrive, they insist Mary was mistaken. Later, when things calm down, they secretly bury the dead Emily on the mountain. Officer Terayama says, I get it. So you want to kill the other Emily. Then you can be the only Emily left. Emily says no. Officer Terayama says yes. Nancy looks annoyed. Is the police hiring bar really this low? The present Emily continues explaining. After talking with Soma and the others, the injured Emily wants to tell the truth. That day she overhears Kenoko and Soma talking. Kenoko says, Miss Emily lied. That means she's hiding something, right? Actually, seeing her endure unfair criticism alone, I really want to help Miss Emily. Emily doesn't know how Soma noticed the lie, but she feels they mean no harm. Kenoko, like the three Emilys, lives with her own secrets. So Emily believes Kenoko will understand them and sincerely try to help. But the other Emily disagrees about telling the truth. During their argument, the other Emily accidentally gets hurt. At that exact moment Soma and others hear noises from inside the house, so she has to use the same trick again. She quickly replaces the injured Emily with a doll. She never expected this would almost kill her sister. Officer Terayama asks, then why are you so determined to pretend to be one, Emily? What's wrong with letting people know? Emily says, actually we don't know either. Officer Terayama says, you don't even know why. Nancy says, stop bothering her. If she knew, wouldn't she tell you? Kenoko confirms Emily is telling the truth. She really knows nothing about this tradition. The three of them always followed their parents' orders. They don't know when it started, but they just accepted this arrangement. They never asked and their parents never explained. Nancy thinks she can help Emily solve this mystery. But first, Emily needs to share more information about her parents, hometown, or relatives. Then a nurse tells them Emily's recovery is going well. Her condition is stable. Now she should be able to leave in a few days. The situation calms down. Officer Terayama wants to take Emily to the police station, but Soma reminds him Mary's killer is still free. According to a fisherman's tip, Emily saw everything when Mary was killed. Officer Terayama says, what? Mary didn't commit suicide. That day Emily felt sad after losing her longtime sister. She went outside for fresh air. She walked near the cave and saw Mary arguing with a man on a suspension bridge nearby. They seemed to be fighting over a doll. Mary said, I need to return it. Give it to me. During the struggle the man pushed Mary off the bridge. Officer Terayama says, that's clearly murder. Did you see the killer? Did you see his face? Clearly? Emily says the man was thin and hunched over. He had messy, long white hair, so it was an old man. Not necessarily. Someone else looks like that too. Soma says when he first came to the village he met someone with those features. Bob suddenly realizes something. Emily's description matches Mary's brother. Officer Terayama says, go arrest him now. All the mysteries of the doll murder case are solved. Emily sincerely thanks Soma and the others. She is overjoyed at the thought of no longer having to live as dolls. Now they can be themselves like other girls their age. Her happiness is clear on her face. A week later, after Nancy's clarifying report is published, the rumors about the Io mansion die down. To thank Soma for his help, Nancy brings them a gift and some good news. After visiting the Io couple's hometown, she finally learns the origin of the doll-raising custom. It turns out Emily's mother was also a twin. In the past, people believed twins were bad luck. This caused great pain for families with twins. Faced with blame and insults, they couldn't fight back. Often they had to kill the weaker twin. Mrs. Io's mother couldn't accept this. In the end, she chose a tragic way out. She took her own life with one of the children. This left young Mrs. Io deeply scarred. Years later, when Mrs. Io was expecting, the doctor told her she was having multiple babies. Her old fears came rushing back. The thought of killing her own child terrified her. Luckily, Mr. Io noticed his wife's distress. He came up with a plan to help her. They moved to a new village after the triplets were born. He invented the doll-raising tradition to comfort her. They first moved to an unfamiliar village after the triplets are born. To calm his wife's emotions, Mr. Io makes up a tradition about raising dolls. He also tells everyone that Emily is their only daughter. Over time, Mrs. Io, who already has unstable mental health, mistakenly believes she only has one daughter. This helps her escape her deepest fears. This family tradition is essentially a kind lie created by Mr. Io to ensure a peaceful life for his wife and 3 daughters. Kenoko now understands what Soma said earlier about kind lies and harmful lies changing based on different situations and perspectives. At first, Mr. Io lied to keep his wife and daughters safe, but years later it indirectly caused the death of one daughter. Luckily, the 2 surviving Emilys no longer have to hide their identities. They can now live freely. Their parents and the Emily who died by accident would surely be happy for them. While walking at night, Kevin keeps hearing someone call his name. Curious, he looks toward the voice and sees a female ghost. Terrified, Kevin falls and breaks his leg. He insists he saw something evil. His girlfriend doesn't believe him and mocks him for being weak. Kevin says, "I'm not lying." The usually quiet hospital is now crowded with people watching their argument. Kevin's girlfriend says, "Wait, don't you all have work to do, detective?" When Kevin learns Soma is a detective, he sees hope. He tells Soma again that he saw a ghost, a hanged woman. Kenoko thinks Kevin isn't lying. This makes Soma even more curious. He asks Kevin to explain in detail on the evening of November 18th. He was supposed to watch a movie with his girlfriend when, passing by 33rd Street, a murder happened there. By chance, the police blocked part of the road, so he had to take a detour through 30th Street. This made him pass the haunted mansion from the rumors. It was really strange. The sunny weather suddenly turned windy and dark. Kevin kept hearing weird sounds. He felt like someone was watching him. When he looked up at the mansion's second floor, he saw something scary. There was a woman's face in the window. Kenoko says, "A female ghost." Kevin says, "It was definitely a ghost, 100% a female ghost. She looked like she was hanging, and she smiled at me." Kevin happens to be a painter, so he drew what he saw that day. Kevin's girlfriend, Jane, says, "How stupid, making up ghost stories. Are you trying to fool me?" Seeing Jane still doesn't believe him, Kevin asks Soma to help investigate. Again, Soma feels a bit awkward. After all, he's a detective, not a ghost expert. Kevin says, "No, it's about that woman." "Who is that woman really?" Soma says, "You mean the ghost." Kevin says, "A woman I've never met before." "Oh, she said she knows me." Seeing Kevin talk in circles, Soma gives an awkward but polite smile. Jane says, "Let me explain." Jane translates for Kevin on the night of November 18th. Jane waited outside the cinema, but Kevin never came. She was very disappointed by this. When she was about to go home, a strange woman comes over and talks to her. The woman says, "This is you, right?" The woman says she spent the night with the artist who made this painting. They shared a bed 2 nights ago. The next morning the man left this painting and 2 movie tickets at her place. Using the address on the tickets and the portrait, the woman found Jane. They only met that one time. The woman in red hat says she doesn't even know his name, but she was very happy with that night. The red hat woman says if Jane knows this guy well, she hopes Jane can pass this message to him. Jane says, "I don't know him well either. He's just a regular customer at my coffee shop." Being stood up already put Jane in a bad mood. The stranger's words make Jane even angrier. Jane decides she never wants to see Kevin again. But when she hears Kevin broke his leg and is in hospital, she can't help but visit him. Then he tells her some silly ghost story. Kevin insists he's not making it up. He broke his leg because he saw a ghost, got scared and fell into a ditch. Jane says, "A ghost really? If you're going to lie, make it believable. You jerk, ouch." Kevin still says he's telling the truth. That painting the woman had was meant to be a gift for Jane at the movies. He must have lost it when he saw the ghost. The woman just happened to find it. Jane regrets ever believing in Kevin. Jane says, "All men are the same. I'm tired of playing this pretend romance game. Why would I ever take someone like you seriously?" Kenoko can tell she's just saying this in anger. Kenoko's nosy nature makes her follow Jane. Kenoko says, "Miss Jane." Kenoko wants Jane to try believing Kevin. No one would break their leg just to tell a lie. Kenoko's words don't convince Jane at all. Instead, Jane thinks Kenoko is too naive. Jane has worked as a waitress in the coffee shop for 7 or 8 years. She's seen all kinds of bad men. Some men will do anything to get what they want. Jane kindly advises Kenoko to be more careful. The coffee shop didn't hire Kenoko before it's because they thought she seemed too naive. During the interview, they felt she wasn't suitable for the waitress job. "This job is too dangerous for you." Soma sees Kenoko's disappointed face. He guesses what Kenoko and Jane talked about. Soma decides to check out the so-called haunted house. Soma says, "You care about Kevin and Jane's situation, don't you?" They happen to meet Tim when they go out. Having a police officer with them will make things easier. Even if it's a haunted house, what they're doing now counts as breaking in. The old house is very messy inside. It looks like no one has lived there for years. Tim says he knows a little about the murder case here 10 years ago. The victim was the painter's wife. A bloody palette knife was found at the scene. Forensics later confirmed it was the murder weapon. After the murder, the missing painter became the main suspect. Although there was a nationwide search, the painter was never found. Kenoko asks, "So the ghost Kevin saw was the painter's wife?" Soma says, "The ghost story doesn't make sense. Kevin said it looked like someone who hanged themselves, but the painter's wife was stabbed to death." Kenoko asks, Are ghosts really that specific about how they died? Soma replies, how should I know? In a painting room on the first floor, they find several portraits of women with damaged faces. According to Tim's information, these paintings were here during the murder 10 years ago. The woman in the paintings is the painter's wife. So these intentionally damaged paintings at the scene. The police also take these damaged paintings as evidence. After checking the first floor, they find nothing else suspicious. So they decide to go upstairs to investigate. But halfway up the stairs they hear a strange voice. Let me out, help me. Kenoko and Tim are so scared their legs go weak, but Soma stays calm. As usual, Soma says, Tim, stay calm, listen carefully. Rumors say the ghost in this house is a woman, but this voice is clearly a man's, and the weak voice sounds like a cry for help. Hearing Soma's words, Tim forgets his fear. The three follow the voice to another art room, but just then the strange voice stops. A damaged male portrait hangs in the room. Next to it the words murderer are written. Soma walks to the window and takes out Kevin's drawing. He studies it carefully. This must be the room where Kevin saw the ghost. But why did he see a woman hanging? Soma is 180 centimeters tall, but his head barely reaches the middle of the window. According to Kevin's description, the woman's head in the drawing is almost at the top of the window, with a rope nearby. It looks like she's hanging. Soma grabs a chair and stands on it. Looking up, he finds a thick rope. After comparing it with the drawing again, Soma finally understands. So this is how the ghost woman looked at Kevin. From Kevin's view below, it really looked like she was hanging. If the ghost Kevin saw was just someone pretending, why would they stand on a chair in this old house at night? It makes no sense. Soma pulls the rope without thinking. A hidden door opens before anyone can react. A weak man collapses in front of them. He looks badly hurt. The man says, in there. He points inside the secret room. Following his finger, they find a dried-up corpse. According to the man, he is the killer from the 33rd Street robbery and murder case that on the night of November 18th, he planned to steal, but was caught by the homeowner. In a panic, he killed the homeowner. While running away, he passed by this old house. He just wanted to hide inside. Then a woman walked out of the house. She said, don't make a sound, or I'll kill you. After hearing his story, the woman calmly told him there was a secret room in the house. It was the perfect hiding spot, with no other choice. He followed her to the second-floor art room. The woman stepped onto a chair and pulled a rope above the window. There really was a secret room. He saw the dried-up corpse before he could react. While he was shocked, the woman attacked him. She said, you can stay with the teacher now. After losing consciousness, he was locked inside. Tim asks the man to describe the woman. The man points directly behind Soma. The portrait on the wall matches Kevin's drawing. If the corpse is the missing painter and the woman called him teacher, then she might be the real killer from the murder case 10 years ago. This is just a guess. But one thing is clear. She is looking for Kevin. Jane accidentally gave her a clue. I don't know his name. He's just a customer at my cafe. This means the woman wants to find Kevin. She will definitely go to the coffee shop to look for Jane. We meet again. Jane says, Tim, she's the woman I met at the cinema. I'm a police officer. Please cooperate with the investigation. Just as Soma guessed, this woman was a model hired by the painter. She was secretly in love with him. One day the painter married another woman. He wanted to cut ties with her completely. Feeling betrayed, she killed the painter out of hatred. While escaping, she ran into the painter's wife. She killed her too. To cover her crime, she faked the scene. She hid the painter's body in a secret room. This misled the police. They thought the painter killed his wife and ran away. But why did she return now, 10 years later? According to her confession, 3 years after the murder, she had a dream about the painter. She went back to the secret room. What she saw shocked her. The painter's body hadn't turned into bones. The room wasn't sterile. After 3 years the body should have decayed. The woman in red says, long time no see, teacher. Can you paint me one more time? She thought he still cared for her. Every year after that, on the anniversary, she visited the room. This year she met the robber there. She says, you smell like blood. You killed someone, didn't you? I know a perfect hiding spot. That day, when she opened the secret room, Kevin happened to see her. To silence him, she kept looking for Kevin. This case has nothing to do with ghosts. It's all because of that woman and Kevin's fear. Kevin finally proves he wasn't lying. But after that, Jane never visits Kevin again. Soma says, Kevin, don't jump to conclusions. A bouquet of chrysanthemums appears at the door. It wasn't there 2 minutes ago. Kenoko quickly runs outside. It turns out Jane sent them. She hopes Jane can give the flowers to Kevin in person. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Kevin and Jane make up. Soma casually takes the flowers away. Soma places them in front of the haunted house. Now that the truth is out, the house doesn't look scary anymore. Kenoko says, ghosts don't exist in this world. People are scarier than ghosts. Soma says, I'm not so sure. Think about this 10-year-old unsolved case. On the victim's death anniversary, a murder happens nearby. Strangely, the killer from 10 years ago and the murderer from now meet again. That woman hides this man by using the secret room switch. Kevin just happens to see it. And what's even weirder, Kevin is also a painter by profession. It's like everything was meant to happen. The kinder someone looks, the more pressure they face. Their faces seem to say, I love helping people. If a stranger needs directions or help, they're always the first ones asked. Every time Tim passes the station for work, someone asks him for money. As a cop, Tim knows these are scams. But because he's a cop, he feels he must help those who really need it. This woman says her daughter is about to give birth far away. It should be a happy thing, but her wallet was stolen. She feels awkward but has no choice. She asks Tim to lend her some money. Tim sees how worried the woman looks. He chooses to believe her. Later, Tim prints many flyers at his own expense. He reminds the townspeople that as the year ends, they must protect their belongings in public places. Tim asks Soma to help hand out the flyers. Kenoko's first thought is that Tim might have been tricked, but she doesn't know how to say it nicely. Soma says bluntly, it's a scam, you got fooled. Soma doesn't hold back. Tim isn't just kind-hearted. He's naive, he's been used and lied to countless times since childhood. Yet he still can't stop helping others. That's why he chose to become a police officer. Tim tells Soma not to jump to conclusions. Sure, this kind of scam is common, but what if it's real? Losing a wallet is bad enough. Being doubted when asking for help would feel even worse. How hopeless would that be? Besides, Tim noticed the woman had a prayer charm for her daughter's safe delivery. Would a scammer pray so sincerely before tricking someone? Most importantly, she even asked for Tim's contact info. Soma asks, do you have her contact info? The question makes Tim pause. Tim explains his train was arriving soon, so he didn't have time to ask. Soma tells Tim to stop fooling himself. There's no proof. She even boarded a train later. Soma makes good points, but it upsets Tim. Tim snaps. Stop seeing the world through such a dirty lens. If society is full of distrust and coldness, how is it any better than hell? Soma mutters, you're so naive. The mood turns tense. Soma doesn't want to argue further. He decides to leave and let Tim cool down. Tim says, she promised she'd return it to me. I believe her. Since Kenoko has a natural ability to detect lies, she's never been tricked before. She can't understand how heartbroken someone feels when what they trusted turns out to be a lie. Kenoko asks, is Mr. Tim okay? Soma tells her not to worry. Ordinary people who can't spot lies are much tougher than she thinks. Kenoko asks, tough? Soma says, those investors who keep losing money in the stock market, haven't they been fooled dozens of times? But they still fall for it again and again. No one believes wolf after the third time, but they'll always believe in a bull market. They get tricked every year the same way. If they weren't tough inside, how could they stay so hopeful? Before Tim's situation gets resolved, Charlie next door comes to ask Kenoko for help. Charlie says his dad is arguing with someone and wants Soma to settle it. The shop owner's wife explains the problem. Mr. Ben ordered some lunch boxes from them earlier. She and her husband say it was 23 boxes, but Mr. Ben insists he only ordered 13. The owner yells, we worked before dawn for this. Mr. Ben snaps, why should I pay for your mistake? The wife shouts, enough, stop fighting. Let the detective decide. Soma doesn't want to get involved, but the wife offers to clear part of his tab. With Kenoko's help, spotting lies should be easy, but things don't go as planned. He questions the owner, his wife, and Mr. Ben. According to Kenoko's signals, no one is lying. Ben insists he wrote 13 boxes when placing the order. He keeps saying he only wanted 13 boxes. The boss's wife was standing right there. She even complimented his new fountain pen. She said, you use a fountain pen? How fancy. Ben replied, it's all right. So 13 boxes is correct, right? The boss's wife said okay. Ben wrote it down and handed the order to her himself. I said 13 and wrote 13. I'm sure everything Ben says checks out as true. Later the boss's wife confirmed it too. She did see Ben write what looked like 13 boxes. But when they checked at closing time, the order said 23 boxes. At first she thought she must have read it wrong. No one could have changed the note. The boss didn't even know where the note was kept. No one else could enter the kitchen to change it. After talking with her husband, they decided to prepare the number on the note. The boss admits he thought he heard 13 boxes, but after seeing the note he figured he misheard. He was busy at the time and the shop was noisy. This is solid proof. The note clearly says 23 boxes. Ben says the 2 isn't his handwriting. He thinks the boss changed 1 to 2 to cheat him. This accusation makes the boss furious. Making 10 extra boxes doesn't bother him, but questioning his honesty is unforgivable. Seeing the tension rise, the boss's wife steps in to calm them. Soma has sorted through all the information their statements prove. None of them are lying. Maybe they should just drop it. The world is full of strange things. Strange things. My foot. We're about to start fighting. Ben tells the boss to speak properly. He shouldn't take his anger out on his wife. What he sees now makes the boss think of another possibility. The boss says, "Are you too, maybe?" If he thinks about it, everything starts to make sense. Are you working together to trick me? This seems more reasonable than believing in strange things happening in the world. The boss's guess also makes Ben very upset. The boss says, "I think you're hiding things from me. You're having fun behind my back, laughing at me and treating me like a fool, right?" As the misunderstanding grows deeper, Soma interrupts their talk and reminds Ben, "Right now, aren't 13 people waiting for food?" So the boss's wife quickly helps Ben pack the lunch boxes. She tells him to deliver them first. As for why the number 13 changed to 23 on the paper, Soma is confident he'll find the reason and contact them later. Kenoko feels guilty for not being able to help. Logically, all 3 of them couldn't have been telling the truth. Or has she lost her ability to detect lies? If that's true, shouldn't she be happy? Instead, why does she feel more uneasy than ever? Do people usually live with this kind of unease? She immediately tests a street vendor. Kenoko asks, "How much for this raccoon doll?" The vendor says, "Oh, you want to buy it? I'll just charge you 20 bucks. A sneaky merchant would never tell the truth. But Kenoko doesn't hear any metallic sound. She struggles with how to explain this to Soma. If Soma finds out, will he think she's useless and kick her out? Full of worries, Kenoko returns to the detective agency. Then she hears a familiar sound again. A child says, "I worked hard to finish my homework before coming to see you." It's a lie. He's lying. Kenoko asks the child to repeat what he just said. The kid gets scared and immediately apologizes. "I'm sorry, I haven't finished my homework yet." Kenoko says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to blame you." Soma happens to see this dramatic scene. He already knows what's on Kenoko's mind. He tells Kenoko that even without lies, misunderstandings and disagreements still happen. For example, hard work leads to wealth. Might have been true in an agricultural society 100 years ago, but how many people still believe that today? Gender equality may exist in most countries, but some still think it's an impossible idea. Philosopher Nietzsche once said, "There is no truth, only perspective." They must have missed some details leading to this outcome. Kenoko asks Soma why he never doubted her, like during the Emily incident. He clearly heard the lie, but pretended he didn't for some reason. Soma says when he chose Kenoko as his assistant, he made his stance clear. He sees lie detection as a tool for reasoning, not something to rely on completely. Besides, from the moment he chose to work with Kenoko, he decided to trust her and he's ready to get hurt if needed. Detecting lies is Kenoko's special ability. For ordinary people, learning to trust is a necessary skill in life. Without it, they'll struggle in society. After hearing Soma's words, Kenoko wants to experience the power of trust. She decides to start with Tim's case. She wants to investigate at the train station. Soma asks, "After investigating, what will you do?" Kenoko says, "No matter what, I want to check the station first." Seeing Kenoko's determination, Soma doesn't say much more. He tells Kenoko to go ahead with her investigation. He can handle things at the detective agency alone. Before she leaves, Soma reminds Kenoko, "Don't just think from your own point of view. Try to see things from different angles. That will help you find the truth." Kenoko, who looks as kind and honest as Tim, is approached by a girl at the station. The girl says her mother is very sick and she wants to see her one last time. But when buying a ticket, she finds her wallet was stolen. She asks Kenoko to lend her some money. Kenoko immediately knows it's a lie. The girl says, "I'll pay you back." Kenoko feels angry, thinking Tim might have been tricked by people like her. Kenoko says, "I won't give you money." The girl says, "I've always made my mom suffer. I just want to be a good daughter." Kenoko pushes her away. She calls out the lie right to her face, but the girl shows no guilt. She says, "Ugh, you're disgusting. You're disgusting." Bad memories flood Kenoko's mind. But then she thinks, people like Tim, even if they can't spot a lie, even if they suspect they're being tricked, they still choose to believe. And when they find out they were fooled, it hurts them even more. Kenoko firmly tells the girl to stop lying to people. She says, money should be earned honestly. Can you really feel good using money you got by tricking others? Kenoko knows the girl isn't evil. She just took the wrong path. The part about her sick mother was a lie. But her wish to make her mother's life better, to be a good daughter, that was true. So Kenoko believes the girl is caring. But using stolen money to help her mother wouldn't be happy if she knew the truth. Kenoko asks the girl to stop and do the right thing. She shouldn't keep making mistakes. When Kenoko looks up again, the girl has left in shame. Kenoko keeps asking if anyone besides Tim saw the woman who borrowed money 3 days ago. She wonders if others noticed her too. Since Kenoko keeps walking around the train station, people start to get suspicious. A passerby says, I won't lend you any money. Kenoko says, I'm not here to borrow money. A train officer warns Kenoko that many passengers have complained about her. They're getting annoyed by her behavior. Tim watches everything Kenoko does. He thanks her for believing in him. He says the result doesn't really matter. Soma was right. Tim isn't really cut out to be a cop. He's seen how bad people can be, but he still thinks most people are good. Tim knows Soma trusts him too. Soma only made those harsh guesses because he cares. Kenoko says, so you two really trust each other? Tim says, no way, trusts Soma never. He says he'd never trust Soma. Kenoko wishes she had the same trust with Soma and Tim, but she thinks Soma only chose her as his assistant because of her skills. If she ever loses those skills, she might be worth less than a pet cat. Would Soma kick her out then? Soma has been secretly listening to their talk. Soma says, why did you only buy Kenoko a pancake? Tim says, it's a thank you gift. Soma says, then give me one too. Tim says, what did you even do? Soma tells Kenoko to call Ben and meet at the restaurant. He thinks he's found out why 13 became 23. Soma asks Tim, wanna come? You might get a free fancy dinner. Tim says, I'm not that free. Soma points out that no one lied. They just missed one detail. They just missed one small detail. Soma asks Ben to take out his pen. He writes the order again, then folds it and gives it to the restaurant owner's wife. She says, I'll take this now. The accounting paper is a bit oily and Ben happened to use a fountain pen, so the ink doesn't dry quickly. If the owner's wife pressed her finger near the 10 mark, it could easily transfer to the other side. When opened again, it would look like 23. Even though the misunderstanding is cleared, the two childish men still refuse to apologize. First, why do you use fancy pens like rich people? If you used pencil, none of this would happen. But you said, pencil marks are too light, hard to see clearly. Why do you always complain? You jerk. Say that again, you idiot. I'll never apologize to you. The one who really deserves your apology is your wife. Weren't you suspecting her earlier? Finally, using Charlie as an excuse, the owner gives in and says he'll let it go this time. You jerk, Ben says, so big but so petty. The owner yells, what did you say, you bastard? Charlie says, please make up already. This is making everyone uncomfortable. After the old friends reluctantly shake hands and make peace to thank Soma for his help, the owner gives all the extra lunch boxes to Soma. Meanwhile, Tim gets good news too. The woman who borrowed money keeps her promise. She returns the money with a thank you note. Tim smiles like a happy child. Even without the ability to detect lies, ordinary people always find the right balance between trust and doubt and firmly believe in their choices. Kenoko suddenly feels a little guilty. She was worried that she couldn't detect lies. Would Soma still need her? This thought itself shows she doesn't trust Soma enough. She should try to become better. Even if she loses the ability to detect lies one day, she can still help Soma in other ways. She wants to be an assistant truly worthy of Soma's trust. Soma gets a new case today. Mrs. Ishihara's husband recently passed away. He left a huge fortune. Her only daughter ran away with her lover 25 years ago and disappeared. Now she wants to find her daughter to inherit the family wealth. But she learns her daughter and son-in-law died of plague 24 years ago. However, they left a son behind. The baby was just 1 month old then. The child was adopted by a couple named Hirata. They moved to a town called Fukudome, but unfortunately, 20 years ago Fukudome was hit by a rare flood that caused a landslide. The Hirata couple died in the disaster. Their 5-year-old adopted son, Mrs. Ishihara's real grandson, also went missing. To find the family's only heir, Mrs. Ishihara put an ad in the newspaper. After careful screening, Two candidates are chosen. They are about the same age, and both from Fukudome. Not only do their adoptive parents share the surname Hirata, they also know their birth mother's name was Hakuzi. This detail wasn't in the newspaper, yet both boys know it. Both young men are very handsome. Mrs. Ishihara believes only her genes could produce such good looks. That's why they're so attractive. Hearing that Soma has sharp observation skills, Mrs. Ishihara asks him to help identify her real grandson. Just as Mrs. Ishihara described, both men are extremely good-looking. They even look somewhat alike. These two men are both very handsome. One of them is quiet and shy, the other is mature and calm. On the way to the restaurant, Soma asks them some basic questions. The shy boy is named Satsuki Hanjo. He works as a gardener and is still a trainee. Kenoko uses hand signs to show Satsuki is telling the truth. When the mature boy introduces himself, Kenoko immediately knows he is lying. I am Peter Takuda. I work backstage at a theater in Asakusa. Kenoko thinks he is lying. The answer is clear. This man is a fake. Kenoko's frequent hand signs make Peter suspicious. Peter slowly walks up to Soma and Kenoko. He says meaningfully, "Please go easy on me." Hearing lies is easy. The hard part is proving them at the table. Soma continues to ask questions. Since they both lived in Fukudome Town as kids and are about the same age, they should have met. Satsuki says he doesn't remember. Peter adds, "Maybe we met before." Kenoko thinks Peter is lying. Again, Kenoko uses her fork and knife to signal. Peter is still lying. Lawyer Shintama says Fukudome Town relies on trade. People move in and out often. It's possible they didn't know each other. Soma wants to ask more to get clues, but Lawyer Shintama keeps interrupting. He started working here in early spring. Soma asks where did he work before? Lawyer Shintama answers for Peter, at a dance hall in Yokohama. This makes it hard for Soma to get information. Lawyer Shintama tells Soma not to worry. He has checked Peter's background carefully to help Soma decide. He works all night to organize both their files. Soma asks if Satsuki was born in summer, because Satsuki can also mean the 5th month in the lunar calendar. Satsuki says no, he says he was born in winter. The reason his name has Satsuki in it is because when Mr. and Mrs. Hirata adopted him, there was a Satsuki azalea embroidered on the back of his baby clothes. Kenoko says it must be a protective charm. Mothers often embroider them on baby clothes. It's a kind of charm to keep children safe and healthy. Lawyer Shintama asks Mrs. Ishihara why didn't she tell the detectives about this important clue? Mrs. Ishihara says she forgot to mention it earlier because things were rushed. Kenoko whispers to Soma that Mrs. Ishihara is lying. Peter keeps watching Kenoko's hand movements. Soma asks Peter if he knows about the protective charm. Peter says he knows nothing about it. Kenoko says this time he's telling the truth. Peter smiles slightly at Kenoko. Kenoko seems to realize something. This makes Kenoko very uneasy. Since they know Peter is lying and Lawyer Shintama has checked Peter's background, it means this Peter is an impostor. Exposing this lie won't be hard. The easiest way is to find the real Peter. But compared to Peter's lies, Soma is more curious about why Mrs. Ishihara lied. He feels Mrs. Ishihara is hiding something. Maybe she already has an idea who her real grandson is. Soma asks Kenoko to think carefully. After the newspaper ad, many people would come pretending to be him. But Mrs. Ishihara only picked these two. From her tone, she seems very sure one of them is real. Also, she never mentioned the protective charm clue. Mrs. Ishihara kept silent about this important detail. If she really wanted them to find her grandson, she should have told them right away. From this, Soma concludes. Mrs. Ishihara prefers to believe Satsuki is her real grandson, but the protective tattoo clue proves Satsuki isn't. As for Peter, he claims he knows nothing about the tattoo. If Satsuki's tattoo doesn't match, he'll be ruled out. Peter doesn't need to prove anything to be considered real. This isn't the result Mrs. Ishihara secretly wants. That's why she hides this important clue. Of course, this is just my guess. Soma says it's easier to just ask Mrs. Ishihara directly. Mrs. Ishihara says, I won't hide it anymore. I do prefer Satsuki. The reason is simple, instinct. I felt a strange connection when we first met. Mrs. Ishihara says, my gut tells me he's my real grandson, but the tattoo doesn't match our family tattoo is a crane, not Satsuki. Azalea. Kenoko says, many people in my hometown use cranes as tattoos too. Kenoko adds, cranes are lucky and easy to draw. Kenoko draws a crane on paper. Soma looks surprised. Are you sure this is a crane? Kenoko says, yes, it's a paper crane. Then Soma draws what he thinks a crane looks like. Kenoko says, "Wow, you're good at drawing." Mrs. Ishihara becomes curious about their drawings. She freezes when she sees them. She remembers another forgotten detail. Mrs. Ishihara says, "My daughter was clumsy. Even after years of embroidery lessons, she wasn't good at it. Her embroidery might look worse than these drawings." Mrs. Ishihara then picks up paper too. She draws the crane template she once taught her daughter to make. After seeing it, Soma immediately understands Mrs. Ishihara's meaning. Soma says, "I see now." Mrs. Ishihara says, "Let's go check." They ask Satsuki to draw the Satsuki azalea pattern on paper. Mrs. Ishihara bursts into laughter after seeing it. The drawing style really looks like her daughter's work. After comparing them, they finally confirm. When Mr. and Mrs. Hirata adopted Satsuki as a baby, the crane on the baby clothes was drawn so poorly they mistook the bird sketch for Satsuki azalea flowers. It was all just a misunderstanding. This is indeed a crane, just a very ugly one. Now the protective symbol matches too. Satsuki is definitely Mrs. Ishihara's real grandchild. Soma says, "Maybe not. Peter never told us what his protective symbol was. What if his was also a crane? To be safe, we should double check." Just as they go to ask Peter, they find he's already disappeared from the house. Soma quickly runs toward the train station. Sure enough, he finds Peter trying to leave town. Peter remains calm as always. He admits he's not really Mrs. Ishihara's grandson. Keeping up the lie would be pointless. After all, you're sharp detectives and assistants. He saw the missing person notice in the paper. He came to try his luck. Then Satsuki showed up too. This made him feel unsure what to do. When Mrs. Ishihara said she'd get detectives, he got curious how they'd tell who was real. But now there's no reason to keep pretending, so he's giving up. He's glad Satsuki is Mrs. Ishihara's real grandchild. From their days together, he can tell Satsuki is kind and honest. He tells Soma and Kenoko not to worry. He won't bother the Ishihara family again. He'll stay away from them from now on. He puts his hands together and asks Kenoko, "Is what I just said a lie?" Then he walks away calmly. After Soma's investigation, there really was a man named Peter at the Yokohama dance hall. But judging by the portrait sent from the dance hall, he's clearly not the same person they met. Though this man tells many lies and clearly wants to take Mrs. Ishihara's wealth, Kenoko thinks he's not a bad person at heart because of their talk at the train station. The fake Peter is glad Satsuki is the real grandson. His words prove he's a good person, and Kenoko knows he's not lying. This might be the most heartwarming episode of The Lie Detector Girl. Since childhood, Kenoko could tell when people lied. So whenever she hears a lie, she wants to expose it. A man says, "I've been busy with work." Kenoko says, "Uncle, you're lying. You don't even have a job." Because she speaks so bluntly, the villagers dislike and avoid her. Kenoko's mom always apologizes and begs for understanding. She tells the villagers Kenoko is just a child. A villager says, "You can tell when people lie." That's disgusting. Kenoko once tried to control her habit, but when she sees people hurt by lies, staying silent makes her feel worse. So she keeps exposing lies, but no one ever thanks her. Instead, it makes life harder for her parents. As an adult, she decides to leave the village. Rather than making others suffer because of her ability, she'll hide it and avoid close relationships. Kenoko's mom doesn't stop her. Maybe this is best for everyone. Kenoko tells her mom not to worry. With this ability, at least I won't be tricked by bad people. So having this power isn't all bad. Kenoko's mom comforts her. If you face any troubles outside, you're always welcome back to the village. Kenoko knows her mom is lying. Her mom also realizes her words contain lies. She knows this must hurt her daughter. She regrets not having a chance to explain until one day. Kenoko's letter includes a return address. Her mom decides to secretly visit her. While asking for directions, she meets Soma cleaning the shrine. Kenoko's mom asks, "Where is the detective agency?" Soma asks, "Do you have a case?" She says no. Not knowing who she is, Soma becomes suspicious. He warns her to stay away from that detective. Soma says, "He's poor and unreliable." She replies, "My daughter is under his care." Realizing her identity, Soma relaxes after traveling all day without eating. Her stomach growls just like Kenoko's. Soma thinks she's definitely Kenoko's mom. He treats her to local tsukumoyaki snacks. Soma wonders why she came so far. He thinks Kenoko never mentioned this. She also seems to have kept it secret. Pretending to be a stranger, Soma probes for info. He says, "Your daughter is so cold. Her mom visits from the countryside, but she won't greet her. If you know her address, you must have contacted her. Kids these days don't care about family. Kenoko's mom says no. She quickly defends her daughter. I never told my daughter I'm coming. I don't plan to meet her either. Just seeing Kenoko from afar is enough. Your daughter sounds hard to get along with. That's not true. My daughter is a good girl. She's kind and thoughtful. After Kenoko's mom explains this, Soma becomes even more curious. If her daughter is so kind and understanding, isn't it strange that they don't plan to meet? As the misunderstanding grows deeper, Kenoko's mom admits she's too ashamed to face her daughter. From their short talk, Soma guesses most of the truth. Most likely Kenoko's mom doesn't know how to interact with her. That's why she's so awkward and conflicted. Soma deliberately says that after hearing these descriptions, it seems like Kenoko's mom doesn't care about her daughter. But Kenoko's mom thinks the opposite is true. Because she cares so much about her daughter, she's afraid her words might hurt her. Soma finds this hard to understand. If she only says nice things, how could they hurt? Unless her daughter can tell when someone is lying. If her words contain lies, she wonders if Kenoko can tell. Thinking about it does make her feel uneasy. When they reach the detective agency's door, Soma reveals the truth to Kenoko's mom. He's the detective Kenoko mentioned in her letters. Soma tells her that getting along with Kenoko isn't hard. People avoid her because they fear their lies will be exposed. But Soma thinks being disbelieved is worse than having lies discovered. With Kenoko you don't have this worry. Since Kenoko can detect lies, she knows which words are true and which are false. Honest communication is the best way to interact with her. Hiding things or staying silent only creates more misunderstandings. Hearing this, Kenoko's mom finally understands. She never considered the problem from this perspective before. Kenoko's mom says she always worried lies would hurt her daughter. Since childhood, she rarely talked with Kenoko. But Kenoko knew everything. Why does mom never say anything? She just holds me quietly. Kenoko says, I know the reason. Because her words contained lies. She must be afraid I'll notice the lies in her words. That's why Kenoko chose to leave the village. Kenoko and her mom both hold back to avoid hurting each other. But hiding and guessing only makes things worse. Misunderstandings and conflicts keep piling up. Soma says, if you have a mouth, use it to clear up misunderstandings. If you have ears, listen patiently to others. Running away from problems out of fear often backfires. We don't see everything. It's normal to feel suspicious, upset, or disappointed. But Kenoko is different. She can spot lies and find the truth more easily. If you're honest with her, she can tell right from wrong. At least that's what Soma thinks. Kenoko is a kind and understanding girl. After talking with Soma, Kenoko's mom finally opens up. She apologizes to Kenoko. On the day Kenoko left the village, her words held a lie. If you're ever unhappy, you can always come back. Seeing Kenoko shunned by villagers for years hurt her more than anything. She thought Kenoko would only find peace by never returning. That's why she said those untrue words. She's regretted it ever since. She didn't know how Kenoko would take her lie. She even avoided replying to Kenoko's letters, afraid Kenoko would think she only wrote because her lies wouldn't show on paper. Kenoko says, I understand. Her kindness makes her mom feel worse. Too scared to lie, she missed chances to speak her heart. She couldn't share her true feelings with her daughter. Kenoko's mom says, I love you more than anything. Kenoko whispers, Mom, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Soma stays overnight at the restaurant. To give Kenoko and her mom some space, he stays at the restaurant overnight. Charlie suggests giving Kenoko a Christmas surprise. That's not a bad idea. But Kenoko can detect all lies. It won't be easy to keep it from her. This makes Soma feel troubled. Charlie says, Detective, you don't understand. It's meant to be a surprise. Kenoko's mom says, if you don't help, you won't get any food. Soma doesn't want to lie to Kenoko, but he can't tell everyone about Kenoko's lie-detecting ability. He also doesn't want to ruin their excitement. In the end, Soma chooses to avoid the situation, just like Kenoko's mom did before. The next morning, Kenoko can't find Soma. Kenoko's mom needs to catch a train back to the village. Kenoko wants to see her off, but her mom says no. Her mom fears it will make parting even harder. Even now, Kenoko's mom blames herself for not protecting her daughter better. But she's happy to see Kenoko getting along well with Soma. She's also glad Kenoko has made friends in town. Kenoko's mom says, I'll write to you. Kenoko says, okay. By afternoon, Kenoko still hasn't seen Soma. She goes to the restaurant to ask about him. The owner says, the detective left early for work. Kenoko knows the owner is lying. But Kenoko has grown more mature now. She politely says goodbye and leaves. Kenoko thinks she must have a reason for lying. Then she meets Tim returning from shopping. Tim nervously covers his face and picks up dropped items. Honest Tim stays silent. He won't say anything about Soma's whereabouts. This makes Kenoko more curious. She's sure Tim knows something. Soma sees sad Kenoko. It breaks his heart. But the landlady and Charlie keep telling Soma to hold on a little longer. Keep it a secret, okay? Kenoko knows everyone is hiding something from her. Even though Kenoko has grown more mature and sensible now, she still falls into endless overthinking. Soma only returns to the detective agency late at night, just as Soma expected. Kenoko spends the whole day overthinking after hearing everyone's lies. Kenoko's bad habit of overthinking when she hears lies seems impossible to fix. Soma thinks it's not Kenoko's fault. Soma says even ordinary people who can't detect lies still wonder if others are lying when they feel uneasy. They might lie too. Sometimes their doubts make them misunderstand honest words. Relationships between people are complicated. Kenoko just happens to have the ability to detect lies, so she gets closer to the truth than others. Talking to Kenoko suddenly makes Soma realize that avoiding the truth is just like what Kenoko's mom did. Soma takes Kenoko to the restaurant next door. Everyone panics when they see Kenoko arrive. Those preparing for the party scramble in chaos. Kenoko asks, "Do you need any help?" They reply, No, it's fine. This has nothing to do with you." The landlady stammers, "We're busy with, how should I say it? It's something related to Tim's work." Everyone chimes in, Yeah. Kenoko says, "Detective, let's go back." Soma says, Actually Charlie wanted to cheer Kenoko up, so he's secretly preparing a Christmas party for her. Oops, I accidentally spilled the secret. Hey, you promised to keep it a secret. Sorry. Kenoko knows Soma exposed the truth on purpose. Maybe a Christmas surprise would make Kenoko happy for a moment, but until then she would keep overthinking because of everyone's lies. It's better to just tell her the truth. Sometimes people don't need surprises, but something to look forward to compared to the short happiness from surprises. Showing their true feelings directly can not only keep Kenoko from overthinking, but also make her happy for days ahead. A mysterious girl appears at the detective agency's door today. She says the landlord sent her to stay for a while. Kenoko confirms her story is true. Seeing that Soma doesn't welcome her, the girl shows a handwritten note from the landlord. After reading it, Soma changes his mind right away. Let her stay, the note says. If they take her in, all of Soma's rent debts will be forgiven. The girl calls herself Cathy, but Kenoko knows it's a lie. Every detail about her identity is fake. Soma asks Kenoko if she noticed the gloves the girl often wears. The embroidery looks like a lily of the valley. The fine work suggests she's from a rich family. While Soma is analyzing this, the restaurant owner reminds them the girl ate and drank a lot tonight. Since she has no money, the bill goes to Soma. The owner says, "We're not running a charity." After talking with the owner, Soma agrees to peel chestnuts to pay part of the bill. While the girl is a little drunk, Soma tries to trick her into talking. "Cathy isn't your real name, is it?" The girl admits she lied. That's not her real name, but she still won't say who she really is. As Soma keeps asking, Tim drags him away for an urgent matter. Left alone, the girl suddenly asks Kenoko if she likes Soma. Kenoko panics and quickly says no. The girl then asks Kenoko, what if Soma suddenly gets married one day? Would Kenoko still stay by Soma's side as his assistant? Kenoko says yes. As long as I can help the detective, that's enough. The girl thinks Kenoko is being naive. She once thought the same way. Even if that person's heart doesn't belong to me, just being near them would be enough. Kenoko feels confused by the woman's mumbling later. Kenoko keeps thinking about what those words meant. The next morning, when they wake up, Soma finds all the chestnuts have been peeled. The girl says, "You're finally awake, you sleepyheads." Kenoko says, "Did you peel all these by yourself?" "Yes, my hands hurt so much now." Soma says, "You're just working to pay for your meals." Soma notices something strange. One newspaper page under the chestnuts is missing. It's the page about Emma's father donating to a school. If the girl hid it on purpose, it probably contains information she doesn't want Soma to know. So Soma immediately contacts his fan, Emma, to bring another copy of the newspaper. Emma says, "This is the real article about my dad." Just as Soma guessed, there's a missing person notice on the back. "Rose, we're worried about you. Please contact us, Lily." Now that they have this clue, they immediately contact Lily from the newspaper. Soma mixes some lies with the truth and successfully gets Rose's photo. They confirm it's the same person staying at their agency, but Soma says it's not her. This confuses Kenoko for a moment, but she always trusts Soma. Soma claims he made a mistake, but since I'm a detective, and you really have a missing person, the detective agency is offering some discounts near the end of the year. If Lily doesn't mind, he can also help her find the girl named Rose in the photo. The fee is really low right now. After discussing with her fiancé, Lily agrees to the offer. According to Lily, Rose is the same age as her. Rose had no family and was bought by Lily's father at age 12 to work as a maid in their house. Even though Rose is a servant, Lily always treats her like a sister. Lily's fiancé is named Sam. He lives in the same neighborhood as Lily. He sometimes comes to tutor Lily. He also gets along well with Rose. When Rose turned 17, Sam helped her get a job at his family's tailor shop. The three of them are very close friends. A month ago, Lily told Rose she was going to marry Sam. Rose congratulated her, but after that Rose seemed unhappy. Then 10 days ago she suddenly disappeared. Rose only took some basic things with her. She left everything else behind. Kenoko suddenly realizes something. So Rose was talking about Sam. Lily thinks Rose might have feelings for Sam. Soma says, if they think Rose ran away because of the engagement, then even if they find her, what should they do next? After thinking, Lily answers, Soma, if her marriage to Sam makes Rose unhappy, she can call off the wedding. Soma says, what? Lily says, so please, detective, help me find Rose. Kenoko can tell Lily is being completely honest. Seeing Lily so worried and desperate, she doesn't understand Soma. Why won't he just tell them where Rose is? Soma thinks that before figuring out the real reason, Rose doesn't want to go back. Sending her back carelessly might hurt Rose in ways they can't imagine. They can't just listen to one side. They need to hear what Rose has to say too. After learning Soma has met Lily, Rose no longer needs to hide her identity. She admits she ran away because of Lily and Sam's marriage plans, but she feels she's too lowborn to deserve Sam, so she chose to run away. Strange, Kenoko senses a lie in Rose's words. She signals Soma to be careful. Soma advises Rose to talk things out with Lily. After all, Lily said she'd call off the wedding if Rose would just come back. Rose says, fine, I'll go back. Though Rose agrees to return, Kenoko knows she's lying. They search the whole town and finally find Rose on a wooden bridge. Soma admits he took Lily's request to bring Rose back, but he still wants to know the real reason she ran away first. Soma asks, will you tell us? Seeing Rose hesitate, Soma shares his guess. Maybe Rose doesn't love Sam, but Lily said Rose only took essentials when she ran away. Yet since staying at the detective agency, Soma noticed Rose cherishes a pair of gloves. They're embroidered with lilies of the valley. If Rose saw Lily as a rival, these gloves must really bother her, let alone wearing them all day. Rose admires how observant Soma is. These gloves were indeed a gift from Lily. There are sister gloves. Originally Rose wanted to keep these feelings hidden. Whether by status or gender, she and Lily could never be together. Rose can also see Lily truly loves Sam. Though Rose says she'll congratulate them, she can't genuinely mean it in her heart. This torments her and makes her hate her own hypocrisy. Maybe leaving is the best way out. Hearing this, Soma gives Rose some advice. Soma says, if you can only bless them with lies, why not keep lying your whole life? Because most things in life don't go as we wish. People weave all kinds of lies. If everything went perfectly, no one would need to lie at all. When people try to force things to go their way, even when they can't, they lie. Lies aren't just about hiding the truth. They can carry our wishes, desires, and hopes too, especially blessings like live to 100 or stay young forever. Even if they're unlikely to happen or impossible, even knowing the blessing itself might be a lie, people still place their hopes in them. Rose lies, not just because she can't honestly wish Lily happiness, but because she still hopes. In short, Rose just can't bless Lily and Sam's happiness together, but still wishes Lily could be happy. Soma's words hit Rose right in the heart. Rose says, you're right, though I can't give my blessing, but as long as she's happy, that's all that matters. Rose now, convinced by Soma's words, decides to return to Lily's side, even if it means lying for the rest of her life. Just being with Lily is enough for her. Soma says, let's go home. It's cold, dark, and we're hungry. During her time with Soma, Kenoko learns more about lies. They come in many forms. Some are used for schemes or plans, others for self-protection or helping others. Some are fake, while others come from kindness. Some hide blame, while others try to make people happy. Lies can feel ugly at times, but also warm and kind. They successfully bring Rose back to Lily. Rose says, Miss Lily, I truly hope you and Sam will always be happy. Rose thanks Soma and Kenoko. Rose says, "Hang in there, Kenoko." Kenoko says, "I'm just his assistant." Kenoko is surprised to realize her own words have also become an unintended lie. It's fine, detectives can't spot lies. They successfully complete Lily's request. Sam sends Soma a thank you gift that includes 2 scarves, one with a deer pattern and one with a horse pattern. But something feels off to them. In Japanese, horse and deer together sound like idiot. Next door, a restaurant wins first place in a year-end contest. A magazine takes their promo photos. They invite Soma and Kenoko to join. Then comes the classic drama moment. A cheerful group photo, just like the episode's message. Often we know that blessings are just lies, but people still use them to show their feelings. I also wish all the fans who kept watching this show good luck in work, good health, and a happy family.